Good evening. I would like to call the January 11th, 2022 City Council meeting to order. I would like to point out that this meeting is being hosted through live stream on the city's website and by Zoom teleconference. City Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Brown?
Here.
Councilmember Krupa?
Here.
Councilmember Mills?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer? Mayor Lilienthal?
Here.
All members are present.
So at this time, members of the public may only comment on an item appearing on the agenda. Please adhere to the following. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes or less. Comments should be directed to the council as a whole and not directed to an individual council member. City Clerk, are there any registered speakers?
Mayor, there are no registered speakers other than the speaker card you have.
Okay, well, at this time, I'd like to call Matt McPherson.
I'm here to speak in regards to the city of Hemet versus John Petty. Could be small for the target. At the same time, the city was attacking, going after John Petty. I won't name any names, but there's a building on the corner of State of Florida that sat with no roof for about 10 years now. Beautiful historic building. You know, right here in the council in 2014, and it's in the minutes that it was ordered that all the brick, historic brick, to be maintained. The building be put on a historic registry. None of that was done. All the brick was demolished. It was given away. And in the meantime, the city pursued prosecuting John Petty over had to redo his blueprints and redo the permitting process, all based on staying in compliance with the city, which you guys can expect. And in addition, when I wrote for the paper for the Valley County, I did a lot of real estate calls and I kept track of who was building what, who was developing what. And I gotta say, he's built more in the city of Hemet than all the other developers. Out of Burlington, Paul Browns. He's revamping the Kmart building. He's got the beautiful house now in Timberwood, Honolulu. He's got some other secret projects in the works. Going to be very prosperous here for the city. So, the one thing I'm here more than anything is to suggest dismissing the case against John David Petty in recognition of the building that and the uneven way the city's applied building oversight. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Council will now proceed to closed session. Thank you for joining us. A report of closed session will occur after the deliberations.
Do you have any
Mayor, I would like to recuse myself from 4C.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go.
How about now?
Test 1, 2, 3.
This button's a little finicky. But yeah, this button isn't working. Yeah. Either it's right or it's not right. I couldn't tell.
Good evening, John.
Hi,
Paul.
how are you? Good, how are you?
I'm gonna have him donate his 3 minutes to me.
Okay, you
Is
got
that
it.
okay?
No problem at all.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Hello.
I have Da Vinci unmuted.
That's what Gus was just saying. He's like, we can hear.
Oh, you can't.
Yes.
Get him. Oh.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the January 11, 2022 regular city council meeting to order. I would like to point out that this meeting is being hosted through live stream on the city's website and by Zoom teleconference. I would like to remind the council to have their microphones turned on and positioned so that the audience can hear. City Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Krupa. Councilmember Males. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Here.
Mayor Lowenthal.
Here.
All members are present.
Okay, the invocation will be done by Tu Yang. State, when you come up, just state the church that you represent. And then our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilmember Males. Please stand.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tu Yang. I'm the senior pastor for the New Wine Alliance Church here on West Menlo Avenue. And first of all, I'd like to thank you, our mayor, and the rest of the city council for inviting me and allowing me to come here to be a part of tonight's meeting. And before I pray, I'd like to read a scripture for us. In 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14, it reads, "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wickedness, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sins and heal their land." Let's pray. Father God, our Heavenly Father, our Holy Lord Jesus Christ, tonight as we come before you, I thank you for the city of Hammett and their leaders and the leadership of our leaders that you have placed them before the city, have allowed me to be a part of the meeting tonight. And may, Lord, you be our guidance. And may you allow me to be your vessels. And Lord, as tonight we come before you, we stand before you, I pray that Holy Spirit, you be in the center of all of us and not allow Satan himself to use any one of us to disturb our peace tonight. And Lord, I pray that you will be with each and every one of our city council members, not just tonight, but for the rest of the time that they serve the city and serve you. May you give them the integrity. May you give them the knowledge and the wisdom as you did with Solomon. And Lord, also I pray and lift up the city of Hammett to you. And Lord, may you shine your face upon our city. Allow our city to be the light to shine to our neighboring city so that others will turn to you. May you heal our city. May you help our residents. May you help our businesses, our education, and may you help each and every one of us, Lord, that we will turn to you. And tonight, Lord, I pray and I lift up our meeting tonight, our public forum tonight to you. And I just ask the Lord, you be with each and every one who will come up and speak, and to speak in truth and honest and justice. And let the justice of your integrity be served. And we pray all this in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, Council, I want to rearrange a couple of the presentations. 12C, D, and E. I would like them to go first before 12A and B. Is it
Okay, that
if I-
sounds good.
Okay, can I get a motion? And a second?
Mayor, if you'd like to do things in a different order, you can simply announce that you're planning on taking things in a different order. And if the council disagrees, then they can move to overrule you, but being king is good, sir.
Okay. All right. All right, so be it. So we'll move to city attorney's report out from closed session. City attorney, do we have a report?
Thank you, Mayor. On item 4C, settlement direction was given by consensus. The council did not complete its discussions on items 4A and 4B and is expected to adjourn into closed session following open session to complete those items. Thank you.
Thank you, city attorney. So now we're going to move on to public communications. So there's a 3-minute per person time limit for all general public comments and non-public hearing items. All who wish to speak, including council members and staff, need to be recognized by the mayor before speaking. For those who wish to join by Zoom, you'll be asked to raise your hand if you would like to speak. Please state your name and item you are commenting on before speaking. We will take public comment for items listed on the agenda. City clerk, were there any electronic comments?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, there's one registered public comment that we received electronically by Jerry Ann Franklin. And it starts, I have submitted a proper request to the Public Works to fill the potholes back in November, and they still have not been filled. I am asking that the city to instruct the city works management, Mr. Holyak, to make this a priority before someone bottoms out their suspension and has cause for a lawsuit. There also needs to be a street light on the corner as it is pitch black on that entire road. People are using Devonshire as an alternative to Florida, so the city needs to ensure that their safety and visibility for all the drivers. Our population is changing. There are a lot more people on the roads. We can't put off taking care of these matters, waiting for the Marriott or some other business to step up and put out the money. Since the city is aware of these issues, the city also knows of its liabilities. I strongly urge the city to make these changes and make the potholes a priority. The street light should be simultaneously. This is a matter of safety for all the drivers in the city. End of comment.
Do we have anyone from Zoom?
Thank you, Mayor. If there's anyone on the Zoom call that would like to speak, now is the time to raise your hand. If anyone would like to speak, raise your hand now and we will unmute you, or you can unmute yourself. And we'll give you just a few moments. Seeing no one raise their hand, Mayor, there's no registered Zoom comment.
Okay. Now we're going to move to items 4A and begin with Matthew Hyatt, followed by Scott Marshall.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Honorable Mayor and Council, my name is Matt Hyatt. I'm a 13-year veteran with over a decade of service being for the city of Hemet. I'm the Hemet Police Officers Association president, and on behalf of the Hemet Police Officers Association, I would like to sincerely thank the mayor and council for fighting for and awarding us and every city employee a portion of the ARPA money. I assure you, this did not go unnoticed. Myself and every member of the Hemet Police Officers Association appreciate this token of appreciation for our continued dedicated service throughout the entire COVID-19 pandemic. I wanted to take a moment to point out the past and present tax revenues for the city of Hemet. which some of the citizens may not know. In 2016, the citizens of Hemet passed a local 1% sales tax, with 2/3 of the tax going to the police department, 1/3 going to the fire department. As part of Measure U acceptance, a 7-member citizen oversight committee was established to independently review and advise upon the city's expenditure of proceeds generated by the Measure U tax. We do not believe the oversight committee would agree, nor the citizens of Hemet, with the current and previous Measure U money effectively being used as a savings account or being transferred to the general fund. The Measure U sales tax has year over year been increasing. For example, in 2017, Measure U brought in approximately $11,655,000. In 2018, $12,155,000. In 2019, $12,697,000. And as most recent, in 2020, $15,884,000, for a total increase in excess of $4.2 million since 2017. The city has seen a steady increase in revenue, and we believe the citizens should know where that money is being spent. When Measure U was passed by our supportive citizens, it was not intended to be used as a massive savings account. Measure U was passed with the purpose of getting boots on the ground, enabling your dedicated Hemet police officers the equipment and staffing needed to not only implement the city council strategic plan for public safety, but also continue to provide the citizens with the service they deserve. Instead of having 108 positions, the department is currently allotted for 78 sworn officers. However, more positions are being pushed to be closed, an essential defunding of the Hemet Police Department. Due to current workload, staffing levels, and our ranking amongst the lowest against comparable cities for pay and benefits, the police department continues to struggle with both recruitment and retention of police officers at all ranks. Our current staffing level of 68 sworn personnel, with more leaving, will not improve and will continue to get worse, with city leadership negotiation team and LCW pushing their ongoing doom and gloom financial scenarios to achieve personal goals instead of what is best for the citizens of Hemet. We will not stand idly by while we continue to lose experienced law enforcement officers at all ranks. Mayor and council, thank you for your time, and we look forward to working closely with you to achieve a common goal of hiring, recruiting, and retaining dedicated officers to implement your strategic plan and better serve the citizens of Hemet. Thank you again for all your time.
Thank you, Matt. Scott Marshall. Followed by Tina Rivas.
Good evening. My name is Scott Marshall. I've been a resident of this valley for over 30 years. I'm part of the 3rd generation of Marshalls to be here. My wife and I just found out that we'll be welcoming the 4th generation in about 9 months.
Congratulations.
Thank you. With that being said, this is where my roots run deep. This is where I'm here to stay, and this is why I'm so passionate about this town. I've been employed by the city of Hemet as a police officer for a little over 7 years. During that time, I've had the opportunity to work patrol. I've had the pleasure of working on the Rocks team as a detective, and I'm currently a field supervisor as a corporal. I chose to speak tonight to ensure the message from the Hemet Police Officers Association is passed along to the right personnel and is clearly understood. I want the city manager, the council members, and the community alike to know the city of Hemet police officers' compensations compared to other nearby agencies. The city officials deemed the following 10 cities as comparable cities: Alhambra, Arcadia, Cathedral City, Colton, Indio, Monterey Park, Murrieta, Redlands, Rialto, and West Covina. Out of these 11 cities, the city of Hemet police officers are currently ranked 8th in salary. To continue on and dig in deeper, we're currently 6th in uniform allowance and then 5th in bilingual pay. For certificate pays, we are again 5th for intermediate and 5th for advanced certificates. For healthcare, If an employee has +1 as a significant other, we are ranked 10th. And in healthcare for your family, we're ranked 11th in compensation. In closing, there's a few other comparables that I'd like to bring up. One being FTO pay. We are at the top rank of FTO pay, which is field training officers. However, we can't get anybody into the doors to train with other comparables that we have. I would like to compare also one final intangible, and that's gonna be morale. As I've learned while earning a degree in business administration, the top 3 ways to increase morale are communication, recognition, and support. Although all three of these aspects are being met in-house, I am asking for those within office across the street for your support. Thank you again for your time and attention.
Thank you, Scott. Next, we have Tina Rivas, followed by Terry, representing the American Legion.
Hello, my name is Tina Rivas, and I am with the local media here in Hemet. I am here in support of the Hemet Police Officers Association and all of our Hemet police officers. Our officers put their life at risk 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that we, the citizens of Hemet, can feel safe while we go shopping, while we play with our kids in our front yard, and when we lay our head down at night to go to sleep. We can rest assured that our officers are out patrolling the streets of Hemet so that we can be safe and feel safe. When there's a baby not breathing call, it's our officers that arrive first on scene and begin life-saving measures. Minutes matter, seconds matter. When there's a shooting, stabbing, overdose, or any other type of assault, our officers have to be there first and clear the scene before medical can come in and attend to the victims. And while they are making the scene safe, they are also administering life-saving measures such as chest compression, CPR, applying a tourniquet, administering Narcan, or whatever life-saving procedures that is needed. With less officers on our streets due to the understaffing and being underpaid, there's going to be a lot more deaths in Hemet. Less officers means longer response times, which means putting the citizens of Hemet at risk. Minutes matter, seconds matter. Our police officers have been through enough, especially this last year and a half with all of the protests. The hatred was everywhere. I couldn't turn on the news without seeing some type of attack directed at law enforcement. I also watched as cement pieces and rocks were thrown at our Hemet officers during the riot here in Hemet. Yet our officers stood strong amidst it all. They continue to put their uniforms on and go to work every day to protect and serve the citizens of Hemet. Our officers have taken a beating. Now it's time for our city to show them that we care and appreciate them and stand with them. This past Sunday was National Law Enforcement Day, and the city of Hemet made a Facebook post. Quote, "It's National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. Thanks to Hemet Police Department for consistently serving Hemet community with excellence, courage, and constant sacrifice. We appreciate you." End quote. If only you could show that same appreciation outside of public view. It's time to stand with our officers so that our city can continue to grow in a safe environment. Our officers deserve the best. Let's give it to them. Thank you.
Mayor, members of the council. My name is Terry Larned. That's 2 syllables, accent on the first. It's come to my attention as I've been traveling around through the city that we have a noise problem on our streets. People have come to me and say, "Hey, you go to the city council, tell them." We have these cars that are out there with their loud mufflers. Now, I remember 60 years ago, glass packs were all the thing to have, and you put them on your car and your cars just sounded like, power. But I'm getting these people telling me that it's very noisy now. They have towns and cities where they have passed ordinances on noise. Pace in Arizona was one that was brought up. and you go in that town and you can't have loud mufflers going through the city streets. So I'm just wondering if the city manager can go ahead and look into that and see if there's any way we can pass an ordinance to keep that noise level down. And now a word from our sponsor. The American Legion has our Friday night dinners back. Last Friday, we had our spaghetti, garlic bread and salad, $10. It was a great meal. This coming Friday, and that was sponsored by the Legion. This coming Friday, we have sponsored by the Writers of the American Legion, fried chicken, all the fixins and salad, and those chickens are big, all for $10. And the following Friday, the Sons of the American Legion will have hamburgers, French fries, and soda for $8. And on the last Friday of the month, the auxiliary will have lasagna, garlic bread, and salad for $10. And all these dinners include coffee, iced tea, lemonade, and the cantina will have specials every Friday. So you come down and enjoy. And on the 15th, we have a special best soup competition coming up, and you're all invited. And it's on the 15th, a Sunday at 1 p.m. at the American Legion Hall, 124 North Ramona Street. You'll be the judge for the different soups. We have like at least 12 soups that you can choose from, and a $10 donation to taste all 12 of the soups. You pick the winner. And there'll also be rolls and drinks included in that. So the American Legion is back. We are having our dinners. We're having our specials. We're having all kinds of special items coming up, a crafts fair in March, car show and bike show coming up. So we're back. Oh, and that's right. And bingo every Tuesday night. Tonight, I just left the bingo and they had some 70 people there, and it's a happening day. They have a lot of fun there. So the American Legion is there, 124 North Ramona. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Moving on to items not listed on the agenda, may I have Frank representing SDN HOA come forward? Followed by Sue Savage.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Frank Rosny. I'm the president of the Sierra Dawn North HOA. I'm speaking here on behalf of the SDN HOA and members of other neighboring associations. Deborah Scarcelli and Linda Stephen have been organizing members from different associations to ask the city to help in recovering losses that originated from the electric power outage on October the 9th. Mrs. Scarcelli has submitted a list of damages to the Assistant City Clerk on December the 5th. My question is, what is the status of these claims? Who is the champion on our behalf to help us recover some of these damages or all of it? What can we expect as a solution? Your attention to this matter is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. After Sue Savage, can we have Pat Savage?
Actually, Honorable Mayor, my husband has donated his time to me, the 3 minutes to me, so I'll have a total of 6 minutes. Okay, so my name is Sue Savage. I am Hemet City Treasurer, who the citizens of Hemet voted for and elected a little more than a year ago. In January, I was newly elected and I went to work and invested 1 million Hemet citizens dollars to earn $8,000 a year instead of the $100 it had been earning. I filed 4 treasurer reports in January. In February, I invested another $1 million to earn $8,400 instead of the $100 it had been earning. I filed 2 reports in February. In March, I invested yet another $1 million to earn an additional $8,000. Hemet citizens were now earning $24,400 more each year than before I went to work. That is what the citizens of Hemet elected me to do, earn them more money. Then the finance director, Lorena Rocha, emailed me saying she canceled my next investment. On March the 9th, Carly Meyer and City Council handed investing over to the city manager, Chris Lopez, and the finance director, Lorena Rocha. The citizens of Hemet elected me to invest their money. City Council overturned Hemet citizens' vote. City Manager Chris Lopez stated in the newspaper, quote, surplus funds are highly regulated by state law and must be performed in compliance with City Council's adopted policy, end quote. Are Ms. Rocha and Mr. Lopez complying with City Council's adopted policies? Let's see. Hemet's monthly policy requires a monthly report on investments. No March investment report was made by Mr. Lopez and Ms. Rocha. Joe Males, you did not ask where the March report was. Why? In April, the city manager and finance director took citizens' money, which had been earning $13,000 a year, and invested it to earn $5 a year. They did not file the required monthly report. Linda Krupa, you are on the Investment Oversight Committee. You did not ask.
Ms. Savage,
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to politely please stop singling out council members and just address as a whole.
Okay. I would like to inform the citizens if they are on a committee of oversight, sir, if I may do that. As Carly Meyer is chairman of the oversight committee, Linda Krupa is on the oversight committee. I would like the citizens to know that. Do you object to that?
No, I do not. I just don't want you to single anyone out up here. So if you could address
you're-
us all as a
you're-
whole.
On the list. You are. Sorry. All right. So anyway, you guys did not ask where the April report was. In May, the city manager and finance director took citizens' money, earning $16,000 a year, and invested it to earn $6 a year. They put $35 million into money market accounts, earning $2,000 a year. As treasurer, I earned $8,000 on just $1 million I invested. Imagine what I could have done with the $35 million they invested. Mr. Lopez and Ms. Rocha did not file a May report. Again, the chairman of the Investment Oversight Committee did not ask where was the May report. Why? In June, the city manager and finance director did not file a June report. You guys, one of you guys have been formerly a police officer, yet no one asked, where was the June report? Why? In July, Mr. Lopez and Ms. Rocha did not file a July report. This would have been your turn, so I'm not going to say it. You did not ask where the July report was. Why? August and September, Mr. Lopez and Ms. Rocha did not file August or September reports. Mr. Lopez, you are, can I do that or not? He's the city manager and you are on the Investment Oversight Committee. Ms. Rocha, you are Hemet's finance director and you are on the Investment Oversight Committee. Neither asked where were the August and September investment reports to comply with city policy. Why? In October, no report was filed to comply with Hemet policy. City attorney, who is in charge of watching for the city to comply with the law, did not ask where the October report was. Why? No reports were filed in November or December to comply with Hemet policy. Not one of you asked where those reports were. Why? So, where are the reports? As Hemet City Treasurer, I'm asking, where are the reports to comply with our policy? I'm asking you, City Council, where are the reports from the people you put in charge of Hemet's money? I asked each of you today if I could invest $1 million to earn Hemet citizens $12,000 this year. Last year, I could only earn $8,000. This year, I can earn $4,000 more on $1 million to get a total of $12,000 in interest for the citizens of Hemet. Not one of you replied. My name is Sue Savage, Hemet City Treasurer, working hard for Hemet citizens.
Thank you, Ms. Savage. As of this time, we're going to end public comments. I apologize for that. Please come up to the podium, Tammy.
Good evening. A little over a year ago, I was one of the over 15,000 people who voted Sue Savage as city treasurer. Imagine my shock and astonishment when I found out that she was left basically in name only as city treasurer. I felt extremely disenfranchised. It was actually worse than feeling disenfranchised. I had the appearance of making a vote, that my voice mattered, along with 15 other thousand people. Then by some cruel magician's trick, presto changeo, your vote had no effect. Over 15,000 votes had no effect. I did not vote for the city manager. I did not vote for the director of finance, and I certainly didn't give my approval or vote for an investment company to do the job to which Sue Savage had already been doing so well. And it's extremely frustrating to me to hear the police officers don't have a signed contract, number one, which to me is inexcusable, and that they are requesting much overdue raises that they earn every single day. So as a way to afford these raises without once again raising our taxes, I would appeal to you to allow Sue Savage to do her job, not to pay an outside firm that no one elected, no one had any say in, but over 15,000 people put their faith in Sue Savage. I think the police officers, that their loyalty should be repaid and not taken advantage of. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. Now we're going to move on to presentations. Before we get into presentations, I want to acknowledge a couple of city employees. So on Tuesday, on Tuesday, 12/14, so we're December 14th, Truck 4 received a phone call from Battalion Chief Lloyd, and he asked if he could build something to shore up the eaves on the Colville building, which received significant damage from the rain. It was a safety issue to staff as well as the citizens being near the sidewalk on Florida Avenue, and the city maintenance crews secured us the needed lumber and supplies. Truck 4 around 3 o'clock showed up and constructed 2 double T spot shores per urban search and rescue specs. Each shore is capable of supporting 8,000 pounds, most likely well above what was needed, but a great opportunity to show off the skills that we have with our city employees. So I would like to recognize Captain Scott Gibson, Engineer Mike Ananya, firefighter / paramedic Taylor Barnes, Brandon DeJohn from facilities, who purchased and provided the materials and for everyone, and then also Joel Dyer and Daniel Torres provided the tools, barricades, and cleanup afterwards. Thank you to all of those who are involved in that endeavor.
I found it. All right, we have tonight. The first is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. devoted his life to advancing equality, social justice, and opportunity for all, and challenged all Americans to participate in the never-ending work of building a more perfect union. And whereas Dr. King's teachings continue to guide and inspire us in addressing challenges in our communities, and whereas the Universal Declaration of Human Rights empowers us all, the principles enshrined in the Declaration are as relevant today as they were in 1945. And whereas serving on the King holiday in the appropriate way to honor Dr. King, we meet local and national needs, bring our citizens together, and strengthen our communities and nation. And whereas Martin Luther King Jr. Day is a federal holiday commemorated as a national day of service and offers an opportunity for Americans to give back to their communities on the holiday and to make an ongoing commitment to service throughout the year. And whereas each of us can and must contribute to making our communities better with increased opportunity for all citizens. Now, therefore, the mayor, along with the Hemet City Council, do proclaim January 17th, 2022 as Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Our next proclamation is for National Volunteer Blood Donor Month. Whereas donating blood is a potentially life-saving gift that millions of Americans can give, and whereas there is a need to ensure an adequate blood supply and to stress the importance of giving the gift of life through the donation of blood, and whereas every day blood is needed in hospitals and emergency treatment facilities for patients with cancer and other diseases, for organ transplant recipients, and to help save the lives of accident victims, and whereas nearly 6.8 million people in the United States donate blood, yet less than 38% of the population is ineligible to give blood or platelets. And whereas one blood donation can save up to 3 lives, and whereas there is an urgent need for civic and service organizations and businesses to sponsor blood drives, now therefore Malcolm Lilienthal, Mayor of the City of Hemet, along with the City Council, hereby proclaims January 2022 as National Volunteer Blood Donor Month. Do we have any blood donors in our audience? Oh, yeah. All right, I need one of you guys to come and accept this awards. Who's gonna? You're gonna come accept this? Yes. Oh, excellent. Well, come right up here. Suzanne is here from Livestream, so we will present this award to you. Thank you very much.
Lovely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very honored. First of all, Honorable Mayor and the Hemet City Council, and also Kathy Keynes from the Hemet Public Library, and also Chris Lopez. I just want to thank you for allowing me to be here today. I actually work for Livestream. I've worked for Livestream for a couple of years. Livestream is the San Bernardino Blood Bank. And we have 8 of me. I'm a regional account manager. And we run blood drives around, Riverside, all the way down to La Quinta, El Centro, and then up in LA and so forth. So I actually run all the way from Idlewild up to Big Bear, Arrowhead, and everything in the middle. So that would be from Banning all the way to Redlands, and then Hemet, San Jacinto, etc. So I wanted to share with you that in Hemet, we have a lot of companies that actually support Livestream. We actually run blood drives at the Hemet Public Library twice a month. on the 1st and the 3rd of the month. And my manager had reached out to Chris Lopez, who then got in touch with Kathy Keynes. And in July of this year, we've actually run blood drives, and we've actually collected about 200 units of blood during that time frame. So today, I just wanted to talk to you about the need for blood. It's very interesting being here with the police department and the community as well, knowing that we do need blood. And so I just wanted to go into that a little bit today. So live stream, yes, yeah. Yeah, oh yes, yeah, absolutely, sorry. Yeah, I will come back.
All right, I have one more proclamation. I'm going to get in trouble for this one. Can we have Officer Wertz come up here? Since he's here and he's so important. Sorry. So this is the proclamation for National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. So we appreciate all of you, but we really appreciate him. So we're glad you're here. Okay. Whereas the health and safety of the citizens of the city of Hemet is important to the happiness, prosperity, and well-being of the city's families and communities. And whereas the city of Hemet is the proud home of dedicated police officers that put their lives on the line to keep our community safe. And whereas these officers stand as leaders educating the community about the importance of public safety. And whereas the city of Hemet appreciates the extraordinary efforts and sacrifices made by officers and their family members on a daily basis in order to protect our schools, workplaces, roadways, and homes. And whereas National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day is an opportunity to show our support for our law enforcement. Now, therefore, Malcolm Lilienthal, Mayor of Hemet, along with the Hemet City Council, do proclaim January 9th, 2022 as National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. Thank you.
Can I have the presenter for the lifeblood return? Can you state your name one more time?
Yes, Mayor, I can, Honorable Mayor. Yes, my name is Suzanne Boswell, and I'm with Livestream.
And Miss Suzanne, can you come closer to the mic?
Yes, is that better? And actually, maybe I'll take this off for a minute. So, yeah. All right. Yes, maybe I'll just bring it down a touch. Is that much better now? Okay, lovely. All right. So yeah, I'm with Livestream, and Livestream has been in San Bernardino County for about 70 years. We have 80 hospital partners that we work with. And in order to support those hospitals, we need approximately 500 units of blood per day. Now, I started with Livestream right when the pandemic started. So all the blood drives that we were running, everywhere was closing. We run a lot of blood drives with high schools and other businesses, and we were having to cancel left and right. And we were getting in a very serious situation. Since the pandemic, we maybe collect 300 to 350 units of blood per day. Livestream works every day, except for, I believe it's Christmas and New Year. So every day we're out there collecting blood somewhere. Plus we have donor centers as well. And so we are currently experiencing a national shortage of blood everywhere in the country. They're really struggling. So what that is doing is, in essence, it's hurting our hospitals. So only major, very important surgeries need to be done. And so here we are almost 2 years later, and it's really affected the blood supply. So when we look at maybe 700 days where we're getting 150 units of blood less than we're supposed to, we're really, really struggling. So I'm going to get into that in just a moment here. So there is a need. And as we were just talking before, one donor will actually save 3 people's lives. And blood donations are really, really important to the community. And we have to stay alive, right? And the biggest gift that we can give to the community is giving the gift of blood so that we can help save lives. Blood donations are used for a variety of medical procedures, whether it's whole blood, plasma, platelets. And so basically, and I don't know if somebody is on the slide here, and I don't know, is it over here? Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. That's okay. I don't know. Is it? I just, oh, you don't know?
You can just say next slide and IT will.
Okay, so if we, thank you. Oh, it's on now. All right, sorry, a little bit of a technical issue there for a second. All right, so I just discussed this in regards to the hospitals that we deal with, the how long we've been around and so forth. So I'm going to skip to the next, if I can here, to the next slide. Oh my goodness. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to skip it. We're not even going to worry about it. So basically, when I came and I talked to Kathy, probably in November, and I put a presentation together in December, we actually want to move to the next slide if somebody's able to. Keep going forward. If we could move to the next slide, if you have the ability. Okay, so right here, this is our blood inventory, and it's very small, so you can't really see it, but in December, on December 22nd, we had 0.7 day supply of blood. Now, today, every morning I'm on a call, we have 0.4 days supply of blood. Since Thanksgiving, people are busy with holidays, busy with family events and so forth. So it's been really, really tough. And our high schools and our colleges haven't been in session either. And some of our colleges right now are going to online. So it's making it even more difficult. But just a couple of weeks ago, we found out that there are absolutely none of the O-type blood on our shelves. So we don't have any O positive or any O negative. So we're really in a very, very tough situation. So I'm glad, you talked about January being the month to actually donate blood. Every day is, but we do have these blood drives that we run at the Hemet Public Library on the 1st and the 3rd of the month. And then I am actually going to send a list to Kathy with all of the blood drives, and they will actually get published on your social media because you the city of Hemet posts this twice a week, sorry. So the public is going to see that information. So I would highly encourage for the people that donate today, and I only saw a few hands. If you're ever thinking that you want to donate blood, please do. Just a personal story really quickly. When I was a teenager, I had a benign tumor in my sinuses and behind my eye and by my brain. It was the size of the surgeon's fist and it kept growing back, and it was ossifying into bone. And I kept on having these surgeries. The first one was in my nose, and then the second one was under my eye, and the third one was under my eye. And when I had my third surgery, they were pulling the packing out of my nose, and I hemorrhaged, and I lost 3.5 pints of blood. And I could just hear the gushing sound and it was quite scary. But the positive of all of this is I don't know who those strangers were that gave blood that day, but I've had an incredible life. And I've traveled, many places, lots of countries. I have, married with a son. I'm very thankful for whoever gave that blood, that time. So I would highly encourage, if you can give blood, even if you're a bit afraid, because I've seen big men who look like they wouldn't be terrified of anything and they don't want to give blood. So please, if you can, spend the time. It takes up about an hour. If you have anybody that you know that you could talk to, please ask them to donate. It's really going to help our community. And then if you wouldn't mind moving to the next slide, please. Okay, so I want to talk about how much blood is needed for a liver transplant. And I don't know if I can ask here, but does anybody know how much it would take for a liver transplant? How much blood? A lot, yeah. You're right. If you could please click on the next. It's actually 45 pints of blood, which is incredible. If you were to go to a heart transplant, which is the next one, it's 4 to 6 pints of blood. An auto accident is actually 4 to 40 units of blood. And I see on the patch, and when I read the media about how many accidents we have on the 79, on Sanderson, on the 60, on the 10, we have a lot of accidents. And so we really do need the blood. And then just say somebody has a bone marrow transplant, it's 150 units of blood, blood product that we need over several weeks. So that's kind of why we need 500 units of blood a day. So if we move to the next slide here, as I mentioned, Hemet Public Library has been running since July of 2021. And if you could click please to the next part. Up until about November, we had collected about 176 units of blood. By the end of the year, we probably collected 200 units. So our goal for this year is between 300 to 500 units. If we could run, if we could get more, fantastic. That would be wonderful. And if we can just move to the next slide, please. So when we have our staff from Livestream come to the blood drives, and if you could just click through here, please. We generally collect between 18 to 24 pints of blood. And so for that, we have an appointment link where donors can go to this, and we have 30 signups. Sometimes people don't feel very well. They don't come, they don't show up. So we allow for 30 signups, but we obviously, the more we can get, if we get more people to some of our blood drives, we can actually increase the staff that come to the blood drives because we are nonprofit. So we have to be very careful with our staffing, and like everywhere right now, we have staffing shortages. So we do struggle with our staff. And then if we can move to the next slide, please. So basically, if you can click through these, we basically, a lot of chair people will post information on their social media so we can get the word out. If there's anybody here tonight that would like to get the word out on social media sites, feel free to reach out to Kathy and I can share my information with you to get the word out. Honestly, I just say the more the merrier. If we can just really get the word out, it's great. And we ourselves, when we have a donor base, I send out marketing, they're called email blasts, and they go out to donors that actually give blood with Livestream. If they've gone to a particular location, they will receive an email. Sometimes if we're really desperate, we'll send a text. But then at the same time, we don't want to inundate the donors that are giving because we just don't want to get blasted. So if we can move forward, please. When a donor donates blood, it takes about an hour, the whole process. Part of it is having the donor go to what's called the Livestream Express Pass. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes, probably takes 5 minutes if you've done it a few times. There's a series of questions, health questions, where you've traveled to, and so forth. And no matter whom is donating, they need to do this on the day of the blood drive, so the information is current. And, there's questions that go through. If we can go to the next slide, please. So this is just real quick on the day of the drive. We want to make sure that we're following the COVID-19 protocols. So what that means is our staff are cleaning the beds with sanitizers. They're also making sure that all the equipment is sterile and sealed, for one-time use. We also make sure that all of our staff and donors wear masks because we want to make sure everyone is safe. And then, I really, really encourage, if somebody wants to donate, please go to the links on Livestream to actually make an appointment. And I always say this to my chair people, we don't want, if we're running a blood drive, say from 9 until 2 o'clock, we don't want everyone to come at like noon. So the reason for the appointment times is, one, we kind of know how to staff, and two, we want to be very cognizant to donors' time because we know your time's precious, whether it's on a weekend or during the week or after work. So I just wanted to share that with you. And then if you could please go to the next slide. I don't know if there is a next slide. Maybe that's it. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. So thank you very much, Mayor, and also the City Council and Kathy Keynes for allowing me to be here. I do really appreciate it. My goal in life is to give hope, to give life, and just to support the community by getting more donors to our community blood drives that we have, so we can get more blood for the community. So thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mayor, if I might just make a quick comment, a plug for Livestream, because the last time I donated, they asked if I wanted to do platelets, and it took just a little bit longer, but it was very efficient. But the most remarkable thing was the communication, because within a few days of my donation, I got an email telling me that that the platelets that I donated were used in a patient in Riverside. So that kind of feedback just helps motivate even more. Thank you.
Council member, are there any other comments? With that being said, can I have Kevin Pearson from the Eastern Municipal Water District please come up, as he will be doing a presentation for the San Jacinto Valley Raw Water Pipeline.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. On behalf of EMWD, we definitely appreciate you hosting us tonight. And thank you to staff for the coordination to get on the agenda this evening. We wanted to be here tonight to bring the council up to speed on a pretty significant construction project that we're going to have going on in both the Hemet and San Jacinto area starting later this month. We know that you may be asked questions about this as your residents see construction activity in the community. So we wanted to make sure that you were informed about this as well, so that you could answer those questions and also know if you have further questions, we are a point of contact for you as well. Which button do I hear? Let's just do next slide. We're gonna go with that in the IT department back there in the secret room. There you go. We're just going to give a little bit of overview of the San Jacinto Valley raw water pipeline, some of the benefits that it's going to provide to your community as well. We're going to focus a little bit on Commonwealth Avenue, since that's where the immediate impacts in the city of Hemet will be at, as well as the overall project impacts and the project schedule as well. Next slide, please. So this is a overview of the both immediate and long-term plans for the San Jacinto Valley raw water pipeline. EMWD will be constructing this in multiple phases. The yellow line that you see there is going to be phase 1, and that's actually going to be starting construction this month at the end of January. And the black line that really extends into the eastern part of the valley is phase 2. That is probably about 8 or 10 years down the road. So we're going to focus on the yellow portion of that pipeline in the immediate discussion right now as well. If we can go to the next slide, please. So this pipeline really is actually probably one of the more significant construction projects that we're going to be doing in the immediate future within the city of Hemet and the city of San Jacinto. This is going to be a 60-inch diameter pipeline. It will be the largest pipeline that EMWD has ever constructed and operated within its service area. And it's going to really provide us with the ability to move a lot of water in a very, very short period of time. As we've seen with our state, as we start battling different weather patterns related to climate change, we've seen periods of prolonged droughts with short bursts of heavy rainfall. And so one of the things that we've done within our service area is earlier this last fall, we completed work on our new groundwater replenishment facility over at Mountain and Esplanade in the city of San Jacinto. We have further facilities like that planned on the other side of Mountain Avenue, but we have to have a way to get the water that we purchased from the Metropolitan Water District from their connection on the west side of the valley to both our Hemet water filtration plant and those new groundwater replenishment facilities that we operate on the east side of the valley. This pipeline is going to allow us to do that. It's going to allow us to move a lot of water from west to east, and also will allow us simultaneously to operate our Hemet water filtration plant over at Kirby and Commonwealth at peak capacity. Right now, we have the pipeline capacity in place to operate the groundwater replenishment facilities and then the Hemet water filtration plant at a very low capacity, or we can crank one up and then the others have to be reduced. So this is going to allow us to operate everything at full capacity, which when we have those periods of heavy rainfall, we can get a lot of water into the ground in a short period of time. We do have a 33-inch diameter pipeline that runs across the valley right now that'll be serving the groundwater replenishment facilities that we do have, but this will augment that and allow for future development of that as well. Can we move to the next slide, please? So this is the Commonwealth Avenue alignment, which is really the bulk of the work within the city of Hemet portion of the project. We are actually starting this first. Typically, we would start the pipeline project at the very beginning of it and then work our way to this area. But we figured this was actually going to be a little bit easier. And with our contractor that we have in place, they preferred to start on Commonwealth Avenue. So that will start over at Commonwealth and Sanderson and move east to the Hemet water filtration plant, right where that yellow line ends. It will tie into that existing facility. We are going to be having to do a full shutdown of Commonwealth Avenue. So we've worked with city staff to have our traffic control plans approved. We definitely appreciate the work with city staff, working with our contractor as well to have those plans reviewed, and we've got a plan in place. We anticipate that the closure on Commonwealth will be phased. So we'll try as much as we can. We see all those little inlet streets that feed off of Commonwealth. We will try to do those in sections at a time. We will have detour signage in the community as well. We've already sent a round of letters to the community as well. Another round of letters will be going out next week, letting them know about the impending closure. but we anticipate the work in Commonwealth will begin the very, very end of January to the beginning of February. We're anticipating 4 to 6 weeks at the longest stretch. Our hope is that the contractor will get that done in a little bit less than that, but we're aiming for 4 to 6 weeks just to be safe. We can go to the next slide. So outside of the Commonwealth section, a majority of this pipeline and the full alignment is about 2.25 miles. Most of the work is actually going to be done in Esplanade, starting at Warren Road and going west to east to Sanderson Avenue. We actually have done a lot of coordination with the city of San Jacinto on this project. As we all know, the city boundary is actually in the middle of Esplanade, but we've worked with the city of San Jacinto to actually get ahead of their road widening project that they're doing on Esplanade. A bulk of this project is actually going to be in the dirt shoulder on the north side of Esplanade. So any closures on Esplanade should really be very, very minimal, if anything. That alignment's going to go in the city right of way that's going to eventually be the widened portion on the north side. As we get closer to Sanderson, we will have to go into the roadway. We are coordinating with the city of San Jacinto, as well as city of Hemet staff on how that traffic control will look in that portion. Our hope is actually that we are able to shut down the Sanderson and Esplanade intersection for a brief period of time. Because this is a very large diameter pipeline, as well as 40-foot segments of that 60-inch pipeline, we feel it's going to be safest for the community to have that intersection shut down for night work within the intersection. Our hope is to have that open during the daytime. Although there's been some discussion with the contractor about if he can just work 24-hour shifts with multiple crews, we may be able to get through that intersection within just a few days. So we're still coordinating that with both cities as well. And we'll update the council as we get to that portion as well. And then once we're in Sanderson down to Commonwealth, we'll have to shut down just a southbound lane at Sanderson, but at least one lane will remain open as well. And then night work will be performed in the intersections, and that includes the intersection at Costin and Esplanade as well. We're doing night work there in large part as we cross the intersection to reduce the traffic impacts to the schools over off of Costin as well. So next slide, please. So again, we're going to begin the work in Commonwealth within a few weeks. That closure will be phased. We anticipate going over to Esplanade probably around March 1st, if all goes well, and we don't have too much rain slowing us down for construction. And we anticipate construction will be completed roughly the latest time frame that I've seen is about October of this year. We are fortunate that we have a very, very good contractor on this job who actually specializes in doing large diameter pipeline. They know what they're doing on these types of projects. This is their specialty. So we anticipate that they're going to be able to really get through this project efficiently and safely because this is what they do. We'll also have a new pump station and chlorination facility over at Warren and Esplanade as part of this project. But that will all be on EMWD owned property on the north side of that intersection as well. So there should be very, very minimal impact associated with that in terms of the public as well. Next slide. Okay. So with that, does the council or staff have any questions about this project that we can help answer and maybe alleviate some of the concerns that you may have as well? I see Mayor Pro Tem Meyer over there writing quite a few
A few
notes.
questions for you.
Yes,
So what are you doing with these pipes?
we're putting them in the ground. So
And then what are they going to be used for?
they are going to convey what we call raw water. So it's untreated water that we purchased from Metropolitan Water District. These pipes will connect to Metropolitan Water District's inland feeder, which is the very large diameter pipeline that feeds Diamond Valley Lake. And when we have water available through the state water project, it will be conveyed through these pipelines to our Hemet water filtration plant, where it will be turned into drinking water. And it will also be sent east to our groundwater replenishment facilities, which we basically have several ponds on the east side of the valley. One that we just finished construction on that we own and operate, and the other in relation to the collaborative effort for the Saboba settlement and the water master. And so that raw water is replenished into our local groundwater basins. We anticipate with the new Mountain Avenue facility that we can get enough water in the ground with the help of this pipeline to get about 30,000 acre feet of water in the ground per year, which is enough for about 75,000 households per year.
Okay, so I have lots of questions from what you just said.
Yes.
But give away water, but which we will actually have to buy from you. True? Because we're not giving water away eventually,
No, we
saying it will supply houses.
it will supply the homes within EMWD service area, and obviously we do have an interconnection with the city of Hemet where we can provide supplemental water.
So does the city of Hemet get a discount on like reclaimed water, or?
We currently do not have any recycled water service in portions of the city of Hemet's water service area. I believe we don't have any, and that's part of regional board regulations in terms of groundwater quality. We can't put recycled water in portions of the service area. Excuse me.
But this will be different than that, right?
This
Because
will be
we'll
different
still have
from
to
that.
pay for this.
If you purchase any water from us, you'll have to pay for it, but this does allow us to get a lot of water into the groundwater basin, which does benefit the city as well. There is reduced pumping costs the higher that we can get that groundwater level up. So the city may see some auxiliary benefits from that as well.
Now, I appreciate you coming and giving this. And so I hate that you're the messenger for this, but I have to say some things.
Yes, of course. And that's what we're here for. We're here to answer those questions.
I know, but it pains me to have to say things truthfully and so honestly. But is this not like a organized sewer spill? And then is this water not going back into the aquifer? And then me personally, I'm dealing with brain tumors. And so does this pass the Aaron Brockovich test? Because I know other people that have my same diagnosis who grew up in the same valley as me. And so you can imagine why this brings some red flags waving real big in my face.
So the water that we are bringing in through this facility, both to our Hemet water filtration plant and to augment our local groundwater supplies, is from the State Water Project. That is the water that flows from Northern California into our reservoirs through the San Francisco Bay Delta. It is actually one of the highest quality water sources that we have. It's why we actually use that water to replenish our local groundwater basins. We're
going to blend it with the stuff that was reclaimed. Is that what the word is?
Recycle water?
I don't know.
This is simply a raw water, which is our term for untreated water at this point. It is a very high quality water source that we are going to be putting into our local groundwater basins. EMWD does have a purified water replenishment program that we are going through the environmental process on right now, which would take recycled water, advanced treat it to a level that essentially creates distilled water by removing every pathogen from recycled water, all the salt content, everything. It really almost creates distilled water, and then looking at replenishing the groundwater basin with that. That project is still several years off, but for right now, this project is about moving really our most reliable drinking water supply source from Northern California into our local groundwater basins.
Thank you.
And certainly too, we will come back to the council as we advance that purified water replenishment program with recycled water and how we turn it into drinking water. We'll be happy to come back to the council as that advances and provide a lot more information, a lot more of the science behind that as well too.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you. And certainly, if you have any questions from constituents, if you hear from them, if the city manager's office hears from them as well, I know Chris has my direct phone number. Please send them our way. We want to make sure that we're the agency that's being held accountable. If there are any issues with construction, if there are any questions from residents as well, please send them to us, and we'll be happy to work with those customers for a resolution as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to 13A. Council, do we have a consensus to receive and file the report of the warrant registers? Moving to the consent calendar, all consent calendar items will be acted upon simultaneously unless requested by an individual council member for separate consideration. Are there any members of the council that would like to pull any consent items?
Yes, I would like to pull 14K.
Any other items? Can I have a motion to approve the items or the remaining items besides K?
I move to approve items 14A through J.
Second.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Meyer, second by Councilmember Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Brown, Councilmember Krupa,
Yes.
Councilmember Rails,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer,
Yes.
Mayor Lowenthal.
Yes.
That motion passes to approve the consent calendar with the removal of item K. 14K.
Okay. The council member referred to in the staff report is me. Since I'm nameless in there, I figured I'd better pull this and give my spiel. If approved, which I sincerely hope it will be, I really appreciate it. I was asked by Susan Carrier at the theater. We were discussing where tables and chairs would go for the 100th anniversary of the Hemet Historic Theater, which is going to be this Saturday. And how many of you up here have your tickets? I think somebody in the audience has tickets out there. So, here we go. And this is a put up deal. I have to tell you that. But it is a celebration of the theater, and it's a big deal for our community that it is one of the oldest buildings downtown, well preserved. It's concrete, doesn't have to be reinforced for earthquakes because it is here we go, earthquake proof. But anyway, they needed some nice chairs to use down front instead of the folding chairs that they have for overflow and everything. So I thought about the library chairs upstairs, asked Kathy about it. Kathy went through the process. It's coming to council for approval. Volunteers from the theater will pick up and return them so that there's no cost to city staff to do that. In fact, I will be one of them over there doing it. But I just wanted to publicly announce that it is a big deal that's going on this Saturday. And I hope to see a lot of people there and a lot of city support for the 100th anniversary of the old theater. And with that, I'll take questions. And if there's no questions, I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Krupa, second by Councilmember Brown. Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa,
Yes.
Councilmember Mails,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer,
Yes.
Mayor Lowenthal.
Yes.
That motion passes.
And Norm Kairos does have tickets available for sale. That's my commercial. Thank you. Yes.
Moving to 15A, our first discussion item is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hemet, California, approving the consolidated list of proclamations for year 2022. Do we have a report from staff on this item?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'll be reporting on tonight's item. So good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight, the staff report for consideration is the approval of the resolution of the council approving a consolidated list of proclamations for the year of 2022. And this proposed list was gathered collectively through previous council members' requests and the previous calendar year of 2021 City Council agendas. The purpose of approving this proposed list is to promote an effort of organization and effectiveness. In other words, to help speed up the processing of proclamations for special events where individual groups may request these proclamations ahead of time, and to have them available for their honorary day or week events. Staff is prepared to accept proclamations that have not been highlighted on the list to be added for an annual consideration. In addition to the proposed list, and to clarify, the City Council may add other proclamations to future agendas throughout the year. The City Clerk's Department is prepared to continue to update a master list of proclamations that will be maintained in the City Clerk's office. That is my report, and I'm available for questions, and I am seeking approval on the staff recommendation.
I have a question for you. Oftentimes proclamations come up because it's someone's 100th birthday or there's random recognitions throughout the city that aren't done at council meetings. So how will that be dealt with?
So we could move to put on a proclamation on the City Council and a future City Council agenda. This is really just to consolidate a list so that we maintain a record there in the City Clerk's office, and then at future council meetings, we could add new proclamations as they come up.
Like if I came and said that on Friday, I'm going to someone's birthday party and they requested a certificate, how would that get to me by Friday?
So I'll just add one thing, difference between certificate and proclamations here. The proclamation is something proclaimed by the entire City Council. And so in the instance of, let's say a council member said, hey, we've got a special event and we believe as a council member, they would like to honor with a proclamation, then what we would do is obviously bring that forward back to the agenda after it was issued essentially by the council, so that we had a record of it on the city clerk side of that item being proclaimed by the City Council.
Well, I'm just gonna have to let you know that I'm gonna vote no for this because the council up here already gets to do jack squat. We have to sit up here year after year and we have to fight to get things done. And one of the easiest things we can do is reach out in our community and give a proclamation. And for you guys to just tie our hands because it's easier for you is going against our council protocols that we put together. And it goes against all that we worked for this whole last year and the heart of what we're trying to do. How many times? I mean, it's probably happened to you, Linda, several times that we get these type of requests, and it is clearly a proclamation item, not just a certificate. So if everything was to be easy, then we wouldn't have to do anything, would we?
Exactly. I have actually some follow-up questions, and I have a concern about, especially about the birthdays. I hope we're not going to do a proclamation for every one of these listed here, because I can guarantee you that 75% of them will never be requested.
So these are all the proclamations that were issued last year by council members or the council.
Now, we overdid it then. But my next question is, what happens to them if nobody is here to accept them? If nobody has requested them, why would we make them? Why can't we just announce that the city announces the proclamation without the expense of printing something and then having to throw it away?
So I think you bring up a couple good questions. One is the process for issuing a proclamation. There is no process here with the city of Hemet. So the process that we've been going through over the last year, I'd say, is reaching out to the entire council members and asking them, here are a list of notable events for the month of December, November. Are there any of these that you would prefer to recognize? When we get that feedback, we then create the proclamation and we put it on the council agenda. So the first one is, one, there isn't a process for proclamations, and two, the criteria by which the council does select proclamations isn't available. And so it doesn't exist. So it's really up to the council members to select the criteria, and then we develop the proclamation and provide it to the council member or develop it on the agenda.
Then I think we need to have more discussion on this, because quite frankly, to get touch now onto what Carly had brought up, which is absolutely true, that if there's a business or a citizen or a group, 100th birthday, sometimes you don't get the notice that puts the ability to put it on a council agenda so that council as a whole can approve a 100-year proclamation to somebody. And it's been the practice of the Hemet City Council for as long as I've been around and been involved, which is probably close to 30 years, that anybody within the city of Hemet who turns 100 and notifies the city about it gets a proclamation and gets it presented by either the mayor pro tem, or the council member that is closest to it. So, I mean, there has to be some exceptions. There has to be some flexibility in doing this. And I know I've had requests from businesses, been in business. Last minute thing, I'm celebrating the 50th anniversary of my business. Can I get a proclamation? Well, no, I'm sorry, but we have to take it to council and get it approved. So we have to have some flexibility and discernment in how this program is run.
So a couple comments, and I'll just add this. Part of what this item before you is trying to accomplish is efficiency. So what we identified was all the proclamations that were issued last year. Instead of asking individual council members again, does the council want to acknowledge fill in the blank proclamation that's there again? So in lieu of us asking you again when that comes up, since it was issued last year, we wouldn't ask you, we would just prepare it. Now that's just for the sake of efficiency, for the sake of the ones that are there. If there are ones that come up, by no means does this prohibit you from recognizing them or requesting them. That would just be done if it's, let's say it's in between a council meeting. We're not requesting that it gets brought to the council beforehand. The only thing that we're suggesting is the proclamation gets issued, and then it gets brought back so that the clerk has a record of the proclamation, because the council is proclaiming whatever it is that they're proclaiming. And with, being mindful of the Brown Act and those types of things, this was a recommendation that we did discuss in the council protocols discussion.
Right.
And so this is where really this originated from. So it's really the city staff's recommendation to help ensure that we're adhering to the Brown Act and ensuring that we are being transparent in this specific instance. It doesn't prevent the council from identifying another item that isn't here, and then us going through the motions of creating the proclamation, the mayor pro tem issuing that. The only thing that we would do is we would create an agenda item, putting it on, just making sure that there's a notification or a documentation that the proclamation was issued.
Essentially, what you're describing is, we could still do the process that we're doing now if there's a spontaneous thing that comes up on no notice and no ability to get it approved by council ahead of time. It just gets on the council agenda for ratification at the next available meeting.
That's correct.
So
I
we
think that
still
needs
have-
to be in writing though, because that
I
is
do
not
too.
in writing on here.
So is this something that we put in the council protocols or attach it to this item?
So as the city manager said, this kind of issue came up during council protocols discussion, and this was one element of an attempt to address it. So I think that part of the issue here is this is maybe perhaps being viewed as a comprehensive solution to every problem that the council may have or staff may have with this. I think the intent here, at least as I read it when I was reviewing the resolution, was instead of having to come back to the council and say, hey, all those proclamations you did last year, recognizing months and weeks of importance, do you want to approve all of those again? And I think that the other item on the agenda today was also your city council schedule for the year of 2022. And I think the intent was to sort of get these ones that are relatively non-controversial because you've already approved them before, get them out of the way so that the staff can frankly prepare all these proclamations in advance and just have them ready to go. there's obviously the additional issue of the spontaneous events. You don't know who's going to turn 100 next week. You don't know what new business is going to open next month. And so I think that, perhaps those additional details could be worked out in that context. But obviously, if the city council wants to have a comprehensive solution to it, I mean, we're listening to the feedback right now. We can amend this resolution as well to have what the process would be for birthdays, new businesses, and other sort of items that come up, during the course of the year that you just don't know what they are right now.
Right, because all of these are on an annual basis. I mean, they're quote celebrated, proclaimed every year. The ones I think, if Carl agrees with me, the ones we're kind of referring to are those community-based that aren't on a national calendar, but they're extremely important to the people living in Hemet.
And those are the ones that we would obviously square away. And as Councilmember Brown said, it would just get brought back for ratification, but that doesn't prevent the council members from providing that to the member of, the celebrating the 100th birthday. It wouldn't or preclude the council from doing that. We would just ratify it and make sure that there's a document that, clearly articulates that, that this was issued, and just making sure that we're being transparent.
And I can tell you that I think one of the other issues staff is trying to address, it's not something that's come up in this city, but there are other communities in the Inland Empire who have had a process where basically any council member can get a proclamation with electronic signatures from everybody on it and go and give it to a group. And sometimes maybe every member of the council didn't want to be part of that proclamation. And so, that's the other side of the coin here. I mean, we haven't had to deal with that here. But as the Mayor Pro Tem said, maybe we need to document what that process is going to be for the sort of spur of the moment or ones that haven't been generally approved consistently over time.
Good idea. I think we need to have this resolution updated. I'm not okay with just approving this resolution with nothing that covers what we're talking about. I understand the point, but this is like easy. We can vote on this or not vote on this and get these proclamations done. But the real issue is the one that we're talking about.
So what we would do, and let's hypothetically assume that the council doesn't adopt this resolution, what we would do is we would just ask you every month, do you approve so-and-so proclamation again? And that's what we would just do, and then we would go from there. This was an attempt to be a little bit more efficient, a little bit more effective, but the council can certainly do whatever their preference is.
The list part is fine. We just need to have something in writing that gives procedures for the other proclamations, because
Yeah.
right now this ties our hands.
Yeah, and I think that's what the ad hoc, the council protocols was discussing preliminarily, but I don't believe that they got that far with that.
Right. So, but you understand what I'm saying? How can we proceed with a resolution that is not what we're asking for? So do you guys want to change this and update this, or what?
We'll do whatever the council prefers, to be honest with you.
Mayor, if I might, would it be, and city attorney too, would it be possible for us to make a motion, but include that the resolution be amended to specifically address those spontaneous occasions where it could not be forecasted? Because I agree with the concept of efficiency. That makes good sense to me. But if we could amend the resolution to specifically address that spontaneous occasions such as we've already described can be brought forward and prepared in a timely manner and just simply ratified at the next available meeting.
So I can address that. I think the second to last whereas clause of the resolution says the city council may continue to add dates of observance for individuals, groups, organizations, and special events to the consolidated list of proclamations to be updated and presented on an annual basis. I think you can maybe add a comma there, or as circumstances may permit. So if you have, I mean, obviously you're not going to give a proclamation to someone who turned 100 years old every year, right? They get it the year they turn 100, and that's it. And so I think you could maybe clarify it there. But in the alternative, you could approve the resolution as it is, and then just add direction to the motion to include in the forthcoming protocols a procedure for those one-off proclamations. I think that was something that was already sort of batted around. And I think that we already kind of have an idea in our head of what we might pitch in that regard, if that's what the council wants to do. I mean, the truth is, it's a question of, when you're talking about a proclamation that is coming from the council as a whole, is the council comfortable with that proclamation going out and then being ratified after the fact? Are you comfortable with that in certain circumstances? So birthdays, new businesses, something on the list, anything else on the list that you're comfortable with? Or do you want to simply have proclamations come from the council as a whole, and then have, cities call them all sorts of different things, a certificate of recognition or something else for those other circumstances? So proclamations that we have on the list, or for birthdays and new businesses, those may be issued without council necessarily acting beforehand. And then individual council members are free to issue certificates of recognition for other things. Those, I know that I don't want to overcomplicate it, but I'm trying to sort of address the concerns that I'm hearing. And they're
I just don't know how to fix this right now. We don't want to sit and dwell on this, but how do we move forward on this?
So if the council wanted to approve the resolution, so at least they have a list of the ones that you're sure you want proclamations for.
I would be okay approving the list. The resolution is what's wrong. That's what I don't understand, why nobody understands that. I mean, I think Linda understands it. But we put ourselves into boxes all the time where we make these resolutions and then we're like going to fix it. And then I think there's still one from 2017 that hasn't been fixed yet, right? We have a council member in the sitting that is here for that. So we do that. So let's just make it right. We just need to just do it right the first time.
I think Mayor, when I'm looking at what is the operative language of the resolution, it is saying the Hemet City Council approves the dates of observance on the list.
Right.
So if there's something on the list you don't want on the list, you can just strike it. I think what I'm hearing is there's this feeling that by approving this list, you are implicitly saying we're not going to approve anything else.
Well, by approving this list, it says that this is presented on an annual basis. So we are sealing this in, and we don't want to do that. So we are either, do you want me to rewrite this and bring it back to the next meeting? I can rewrite the resolution.
I'm seeing the whereas language you're talking about to be updated and presented on an annual basis. I read that as the proclamations are being presented on an annual basis, not just the list. But I think we could maybe add language afterwards that said, this is approved and subject to the council approving further proclamations in the future. Because it seems like that's what you want. You want to be able to do them.
I think we want to continue doing it how we have. If we get some council member on here that starts giving proclamations out, then maybe we'll come and change it so that nobody's allowed to give them out without getting voted on. But until we have you know what I'm saying? A problem.
Let me try this. I will make a motion that we continue this item and ask staff to bring back a revision. I think we've given some direction to refine the verbiage in the proposed proclamation and bring it back to us.
And do you want to add, do you want to approve their list if that is what they would like? Would you want to approve the list without
going through that again? It needs to be a two-part, because there's those on an annual basis and there's those that are spontaneous. And a business is only going to be in business for 50 years one time, and same with the 100th birthday. And I think we need some specificity on those types of things. I mean, a business that's been here for 5 years, do you give them a proclamation? I don't think so. I mean, that's my personal opinion. But one that's been here for 50 years, absolutely. And same with, I mean, how many of us, I'm going to get a proclamation from the city when I turn 100. I'm just telling you now. And I want a nice one and I want it framed.
50 and 60 wedding anniversaries. I mean, we've gone to a
Even,
bunch of
even
those.
something like that, if there's a request for it, I don't think we go out and solicit. But if there is a request, and I mean, it's a big deal to turn 100. It's a big deal to have a 50 or 60 or 70th wedding anniversary. Although we have so many in this town, we run out of paper. But including several people sitting up here. It's that type of thing that there has to be an area in this. If it's all together in quote proclamations, then there has to be the annual and there has to be the quote spontaneous or once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime.
I think we
whatever.
can amend the resolution to make it clear that these are the standing proclamations, I guess we could call it. And then we can perhaps propose alternative language to handle those one-off events that occur.
And here's my other question for you guys. Do we just let the mayor pick what their proclamations are for the year? I mean, certain ones I didn't do because I didn't care about, I mean, not care, but you know what I mean? I couldn't hit everyone, but that's just
that goes back to one of my original statements is if I understand that's a nice list and I look at them and I'm going, that's a deserving one. That's a deserving one. But unless we have somebody that comes up and requests that they're going to actually take it home and do something with it or put it on a wall somewhere, what is the city going to do with it if nobody wants it?
So we don't get in the way of asking that question for the council members, but if the council member requests it, we do whatever the council member wants. So that's we try and be accommodating with the council.
Good point.
So you're saying that,
and we need
not
to be
all-
sure
yeah.
that somebody is going to appreciate a proclamation that is being given to them by the city. And I mean, the whole idea is to publicize and proclaim all of these entities on this list, and they're all good. I mean, they absolutely should be celebrated. But if there's nobody that wants it,
And
why
you're
make it?
saying
Could
like-
we could just announce this is what the month of whatever.
and you're saying that not all, this isn't the only venue for the national whatever month to be celebrated. And
Right.
so unless somebody's here to request it, it's the same as requesting the other ones.
And there will be a lot
That's a
of
good
them
point.
on here that actually come to us every year and say, this is important. You know, can you give us a proclamation and, announce it publicly? We want to be there. We want the information to be gotten out, and deservedly so.
Right again, Russ, after, let me.
No, I just don't understand why we're arguing this point when it tells you here, whereas the city council may continue to add dates of observance for individuals, groups, organizations, and special events to the consolidated list of proclamations. So is it say
Annual, consolidated annual, our operative words. in it.
annual? Oh, okay, so that's the word. you know, then.
So it's something like this that looks so simple that you've really got to drill down
Ah,
on
okay.
so that it will work effectively.
If that ending clause of that whereas is the source of the heartburn, I think it can be struck. Again, when I read it, I was reading that as in relation to the proclamations. They are being updated and presented on an annual basis. But if there's a concern that we can now only change this list on an annual basis and then we can't do the spontaneous ones.
Wouldn't it be just simpler to strike just say, whereas the city council may continue to add dates of observance for individuals, groups, organizations, special events to the consolidated list of proclamations, and just stop it right there.
Absolutely, if that would remove the
And you don't get into update it and present it on an annual basis, because that gives us the latitude to add or subtract even.
Then I would suggest with that we get into the specificity of local spontaneous proclamations in the council protocols, because it has to be spelled out somewhere that not everybody gets something on a whim.
I-
It has to be worthwhile acknowledgement.
I think we'll just refer to these as the standing annual proclamations. And then in the council protocols, we can talk about the process of the once in a lifetime type proclamations.
So, Mr. City Attorney, I made a motion that we continue this with the staff direction to reword the resolution, but if council is content with just striking that last phrase of that one whereas section, I'm okay with approving it tonight. So
And then we box ourselves in. So then what's the plan between now and then?
then
We put it in the council protocol.
That's what I mean. But so if you need
and
one
it-
in the next month, then what do you
That's
do?
an addition to the motion would be that those issues be addressed in the council protocols.
You see, my problem is that we still have a boxed area that is not covered.
But protocols are coming to council
Next meeting.
next meeting,
Next meeting.
Decide at next meeting.
special, the ones you and I are talking about, spontaneous community proclamations. Some guidelines.
We do things very backwards for me.
Have a motion?
I made the motion. We just
Yeah.
need a second.
To continue?
So we
No, not
can,
to continue.
well, if
Are you adding
if
to?
I don't get a second, then the motion dies.
Oh, give me your motion again. So it's to continue, isn't it?
No, I've modified my motion to strike the last phrase to be updated and presented on an annual basis, striking that phrase from the proposed resolution. And I would move approval of this item with the understanding that the special spontaneous items will be addressed subsequently with the council protocols.
Can we add that into the resolution so that it is stated in the resolution that there's a separate policy for local spontaneous certificates?
Here's a spontaneous one. I have a 102-year-old World War II veteran.
There you
I
go.
want a proclamation for.
Needs a proclamation.
Now, am I going to have trouble with that?
Now that you brought it up here, we could vote on it tonight and not have any problems.
Let's vote.
Separate motion.
Removing the heartburn area would allow you to do that.
I would say just, it sounds like there's still some questions about this. Since the council protocols is coming at the next meeting,
You want to just
would
leave
the
this
council
until
be
then?
opposed to continuing this? And we'll do the wordsmithing on this. So you'll actually have the language in front of you on what you're voting on.
I'll go back to my original motion that we continue this.
That's the one I was thinking you were talking about.
Second.
Yes.
Motion to continue the item. Motion made by Councilmember Brown, second by Mayor Lilienthal. Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa,
Yes.
Councilmember Mails,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer, Mayor Lilienthal.
Yes.
That motion passes.
And in the meantime, Councilmember Mails gets his certificate for a 102-year-old veteran.
Thank you.
Proclamation.
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 What did I say?
Certificate.
Oh, that's got to be a proclamation. 102 years old. Is that?
Jose.
Moving to 15B, consider the delegate representative and alternate for the Southern California Association of Governments. SCAG 2022 General Assembly meeting held on May 4th through the 6th. Do we have a?
It's a simple one. Thank you, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. The General Assembly is a forum where policy matters can be identified and addressed. Should the council have any policy matters, direction should be provided to staff. And the deadline to submit the proposed resolutions to SCAG or for bylaw revisions is by February 4th, 2022. That's my general report. We need to appoint a representative or delegate and an alternate for the meeting. And so that's what staff is seeking as far as direction goes.
I make a motion that we appoint Linda Krupa since she's religiously participating in the SCAG meetings.
I
I'll,
do.
s- I'll second it.
I have been religiously on SCAG since probably 2011 on the Transportation Committee. So I would be willing to do that.
Did you also want to propose an alternate, Councilmember Brown?
I propose our mayor be the alternate to that.
Okay.
I'll gladly accept.
Does the second agree with that motion? Councilmember Mills?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, motion made by Councilmember Brown, second by Councilmember Mills. Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa,
Yes.
Councilmember Mills,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer,
Yes.
Mayor Lilienthal.
Yes.
That motion passes to appoint Councilmember Krupa as the first delegate and Mayor Lilienthal as the alternate for the SCAG Assembly to be held on May 4th through the 6th, 2022.
Okay, moving to item 15C, City Council boards and committee appointments.
Thank you, Mayor. This is also another straightforward report where staff is seeking direction on appointments to the outside boards and committees. The City Council does this annual appointment process and does update or fill the list on the committee appointments as deemed necessary during vacancies. Attached is the staff report of the list of outside boards, commissions, and committees for the calendar year of 2021 and includes the update slot as well in the report. Staff is looking for direction to appoint and, approve a 2022 appointments list. That's my report and I'm available for questions.
Council? Who wants to do what?
If I sent you an email, I don't know if today, that I would like to remain on RCTC and RTA. And I'm more than willing to give up the RCA and the WCE because I can't go to WCE meetings anyway, because I have something else going on at that time. And I'd like to stay as liaison to the library, if that's okay with Kathy.
I didn't catch all of those.
Those in order. You'd mean down the list?
Let's just work from top to bottom.
Top to bottom. Hemet Housing Authority, I believe, is Malcolm and
You,
you.
Linda.
We were last year.
Oh, you were.
But the Housing Authority at the reorg meeting, the chair and the vice chair of housing became somebody else other than Malcolm and I believe. Do we have the minutes of that meeting of the Housing Authority? We didn't approve them tonight, so I don't know.
It was me and you
Is it? Oh.
for
Well,
2021.
I wasn't paying attention at that meeting. And I'm willing to
You-
stay on that.
Now for 2022, we're just going to keep it the same.
And if
Okay.
that's, I'm okay with that.
And then for Investment Oversight Committee in 2021, it was,
And Carly.
yes.
You want to stay on that one until everything's resolved?
It remains the same. Okay.
Let's not change horses in the middle of the stream here.
Yeah. And then the Skate Park Committee was myself and Councilmember Brown. But
he transferred that over to me at that last year or 2021.
Yeah, you were originally on it, and so I took your place, but you want it back.
Yes, sir.
You got it.
okay. So Skate Park Committee will be myself and
So-
Males. And then the next one would be the Hemet Public Library Board of Trustees.
And I'll
which
fight you for that
Linda
one, Malcolm.
was on.
Yeah.
And then Infrastructure Commission.
I'd like to keep that one.
Planning Commission,
That was me.
Joe had that and then you and I split it so that I was the first meeting of the month and you were the third meeting or first and third.
do you
So
want to take the second one?
only
You want
two.
to take my place?
1 and 3. I'll take one of them. Yes.
That's one of they're more important than we are. I mean, literally.
Oh, yeah.
So Planning
Linda.
Commission will be,
Can I keep the first one? And
Yes. You want the
Linda's
first
gonna
or
keep-
third?
I'll keep the first if that's okay
Okay, and
with
I'll
you.
take the third then. Okay.
and then for the Council Protocols Ad Hoc Committee was Councilmember Brown and
Stay on
Cooper.
that because hopefully it'll be done at the next meeting.
Yeah.
And the Vision and Mission Ad Hoc Committee, myself and Mayor Pro Tem Meyer. The same. And then graffiti cleanup, myself and Miss Krupa.
Wants that back? Absolutely.
I wouldn't mind.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
I don't mind because I'm
okay.
going to be doing it through Rotary. So the more people we have
Okay,
involved
perfect.
in that
Yeah.
would be good.
Okay. And then for the homeless outreach was myself and Carly. Stays the same. And then we have business outreach with myself and Councilmember Brown.
I'd like to have that back if I could.
You can have that back.
Okay.
Okay. And then the city attorney RFP ad hoc committee was Councilmember Brown and Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Where are we at?
Yeah.
Caltrans liaison, Councilmember Krupa and Councilmember Brown.
I'd like to stay on that.
I would too. I think we've developed
You know
a
what, yeah.
rapport.
Yes, very much.
Riverside County Airport Land Use Commission.
I'm appointed to that by the who am I appointed by?
Just
Delegate selection, committee. So it's through the league, but it's an outside body that appoints to that one. So I will stay on that one because they haven't told me to get off it yet.
And then I'm on this Community Action Commission of Riverside County. We all have League of Cities.
Yes.
And then we have Riverside County Transportation Commission.
Yes, I would like to stay on that as primary. And if Councilmember Brown doesn't mind, I think the mayor should be the alternate on that, if you don't mind.
I'm fine with that. You want to be the alternate?
Okay.
Yeah, I think it would be good.
RCTC?
Yes.
And then we have Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency.
If nobody else wants it, I'll keep it.
RTA, myself and
I would
Ms.
like-
Krupa.
Yes, I'm good with that.
Western Riverside County Conservation Authority.
And I am more than willing to give that one up. It's actually turning into a workable entity because it's under the management of RCTC. But if Mr. Males would like that, that would be awesome. You can deal with habitats and multi-species, endangered species,
Oh,
and
I don't like
streets and
animals.
roads, and
Oh, streets and roads.
and taking property away from its personal property rights. And they're tired of hearing from me. So maybe a new voice would be good.
I have a feeling I'm getting set up.
I am more than willing to work with you on getting you up to speed
Yes,
with that
please.
group because it's an interesting board. It's a necessary evil to get, especially highway, road and highway work done and development. But we are bound by the species, habitat, endangered species And so you have to work through that. It's finally becoming more workable, but they've still got some more work to do. But it's an interesting process and it's a cumbersome process. But I think you'd be good at it.
Why?
And I don't have to do it.
This sounds like a setup.
Yeah.
No, thank you. No.
I've been on and off it ever since I got on council.
I thought Russ wanted. to be on
And
that.
it's extremely important, especially to our valley and our city because of the,
Dennis, and give me a nod, yes or no.
he needs to be on it. It's because of the vernal pools on the west side that Warren Road got realigned without anybody's
You're gonna
knowledge.
help me initially.
I will
to
definitely
get-
help you
Come up to
with
speed. and
this. Yes. So I guess
Promise.
with that in mind, I will volunteer to be the alternate because other than that, you and I can't talk because then we'd have 3 council members talking about the same subject. So if you're willing to take the lead, I will be the alternate on that. And I'll help you through that one.
Heard that, right? You have that media? No, no. I guess so, okay. So that is the Western River.
RCA, yes.
Next, we have Ramona Bowl, Board of Directors.
I'm happy to stay on that but I'll be an alternate if somebody else wants to be the primary. Linda originally, Linda was the primary and I was the alternate, but they moved their board meetings to Wednesday night, which conflicted with another meeting she has. So we flip-flopped, and so I became the primary. But I'm interested in staying as a representative, but I don't have to be primary if somebody else wants it.
We'll just leave Councilmember Brown for right now.
You don't go to church on Wednesday.
Yeah,
huh?
I do though, I do.
I've got
I'll
Rotary on
continue with it.
Wednesdays.
And then there is the Hemet San Jacinto Water Master Board.
I'm okay leaving that the way it is if
Yeah,
you're
I'm
willing to do it.
just for no other reason than the complexity of the stuff that they deal with. I'll stay with that as alternate.
Western Riverside Council of Governments.
Doesn't exist, I thought. Does it exist?
Is the WCE still around?
WCE, I should stay with that.
Take me
They're-
off.
They're still going forward, but you know, there's an end to that at some point, so
Hmm.
I should stay with that.
And I think Joe should be back on there as alternate.
Oh, gee, thanks.
I'm just being, you were on it before, so you need to be back on it again. I can't make their meetings. I have another meeting at that time.
I'm always on them, so.
Yeah, so, okay.
Yes or no? You're gonna be on the team?
Yeah, I was on there before, but yeah. When they go bankrupt, I don't want to hear it.
Okay, and then there's the Western Riverside Council of Governments, WRCOG.
That's the executive committee, and I'm happy to stay on that. Mayor, if you want to stay as an alternate, I think there may be an occasion where there might be something on the agenda that would be a conflict of interest with WCE. So in those situations, I can either recuse myself or you could be the participate as the alternate. But I can stay on as the primary if you want.
I'll do the alternate.
Okay, so leave that one the same then.
We'll leave that the same. Are there any others?
JPA.
Okay, so California Joint Powers Insurance Authority Board. Was I have Councilmember Brown and Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Yeah, I think I'm happy to continue. I mean, they don't they only meet as needed, so I'm happy to stay in that if you want. If you want to stay as the alternate, okay.
Carly, do you want to be on more of these? No? Okay. Just, okay.
Is there anyone on here that wanted to be on something specific but didn't get it? Which one? Which one?
Oh, no, that, I wanted to be on the RCTC, but that's fine. Leave it the way it is.
RCTC?
I'll come on.
Okay. I have also I have Revenue and Taxation Committee.
These are appointments from the League of California Cities, and I was reappointed to the Rev and Tax Committee. And Russ,
Yeah, I was not appointed to the Public Safety Policy Committee. I was appointed to the Transportation, Communication, and Public Works Committee.
And then what about all of your WRCOG to regional committees?
they, WRCOG Executive Committee makes these appointments, and I am still on SCAG Transportation and on Riverside County Waste Management Task Force. But I would add to that I have an appointment, a new appointment through RCTC to the MSARB, Mobile Source Air Reserve. It deals with smog and pollution from mobile sources, and it's a subcommittee of the AQMD. So we are really big into electric vehicles. And that was an eye roll. So that's an appointment through RCTC.
Are there any others or maybe other ad hocs that anyone might want to create? All right, can I get a motion?
Appointed by the mayor.
You just get to say, so let it be written.
It's almost like let there be light.
Let it,
It is so
yes,
ordered.
Let it be.
Power vested in me.
Counts you all.
Said, amen.
All right, so then with that being said, we're gonna move on to the city council and staff reports. I have 15 minutes left for my promise. So
Okay, just real quickly, nothing to report on most of these. The WCE meeting for January was canceled, and the WRCOG meeting is tomorrow.
And RCTC is tomorrow. The league was last night, had got some good information on COVID and also on, oh, it was the, what is she? The governor, lieutenant governor, talked about what she does. And it was a better report and information from the county health officer. She did a really good job talking about COVID statistics and hospitalizations and the true numbers of COVID hospitalizations versus hospitalizations or from other things. And get tested while they're in there and turn out, but that's not the reason they were hospitalized. So really some good basic facts. I thought it was very good. And are we having a library meeting Friday, Kathy? Next week. I'm in the wrong week, aren't I? Okay, library meeting is the third Friday. Other than that, I'm good.
Councilmember Mills.
I really don't have much, but what caught me on the meeting that we had yesterday with the Lieutenant Governor, I don't know if this is fact or not. Did you guys hear this where she said that the cities can cover lost revenues up to $10 million with ARPA money? Okay, that's what I caught. So that's all I have.
Just based on that, everybody should look at the governor's budget because it's scary. I think he's in the business of making money, printing it in his backyard.
All right, well, speaking of money, let's talk about the Investment Oversight Committee. We had our meeting last month and we were able to, Linda was at the meeting obviously too. We were able to go over our investments with the newly appointed firm, and they were able to point out all of the investments that we had that were in compliance and out of compliance. And so, as everybody knows, there are rules to investing. And so a government entity cannot just invest in cryptocurrency or other types of riskier investments because the money is not ours, because it's the citizens of Hemet's money. And so I was thankful for this new investing firm for bringing to light, I believe there were 4 investments that were out of compliance. And it was a little ironic because we keep having our treasurer that was elected come to our meetings, but she voted in this meeting to keep the illegal investments. And so I'm confused with that vote, I guess, is contrary to what she comes here and says. And so it is concerning for me. But I did note also that there are, when you go through the rules the state has for the investments, there are protocols for investment reports, and it's not just editorial comments. Investment reports need to include balances and actual accounting. And so because we didn't have that, we were able to find the investment firm. And so I'm thankful for that. And as everyone knows, one person cannot be overseeing $100 million without any other oversight. And so I think that for the last 4 years, citizens, including our elected treasurer, have come and said that at our meetings. And so I'm glad to say that we have done that and have made everyone, the citizens of Hemet, happy and their investment secure. So thank you.
I don't have anything to report at the moment. Do any, so we'll move on to the city manager report.
Nothing on my side, Mayor, but Happy New Year and glad to be meeting with everybody to kick off the new year and looking forward to another great year in 2022. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. So future agenda items, do any members of the city council have any requests? There are some words I'm having trouble with tonight. Have any requests for future agenda items?
We have to go back into closed session. I'll save mine until next meeting.
Just a clarification, maybe the city attorney could comment on this. We have solar feasibility, and I received some information today about a pending vote that the CPUC may be making relative to customers who have solar and some increases that could be imposed. Is that something that the council should take up and address?
Well, my understanding of the solar feasibility item is that it's a public works item related to energy efficiency upgrades. And I'm sure the city manager can speak to that. And I think we can absolutely fold in any future regulatory actions that will affect that. Because one of the findings the council is going to have to make at that hearing is that moving forward with those energy efficiency upgrades will result in a savings to the city, to the point where staff has done an investment grade audit of your energy usage. And if there's a regulatory change that may affect that savings, we'll have to address it in that presentation. So I think we'll look at
I'm
it.
not certain of the timeline, but it sounds like that CPUC vote is coming up sooner than later. So maybe we would need to take that up separately.
Is the intent to perhaps send a letter from the council regarding the change, or was it simply to be briefed on what the change will mean?
Well, I think we need to be brief specifically on what the change is that's being proposed, because it's my gut feeling that it's an attempt by SCE to perhaps reclaim revenue that they're losing because of residential solar providers putting energy back into the grid. And so what sounds like it could be on the agenda for the CPUC is to make some adjustments so that you disincentivize people to use alternative means like solar. So I don't know enough about it to really have an opinion. So
well, why don't we do this? My office will work with city manager and public works. We'll get a briefing together and we'll have it emailed to the members of the city council.
That
So
would be very
you
much
know what it
appreciated.
is. And if you want to take a future action, such as sending a comment letter or some other type of action, you at least you'll be informed and you can make that decision then.
I think we just need more information, and then based on what we've learned, we may or may not want to take an official position as a council. Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna move to adjournment. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Only to close session. And then we'll be back to close out.